To IOC's financial record, says Bala. And we also have the World Water Day. Dangote, others make case for groundwater protection. You can get the full details on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. And this is as regards to 2023 elections. I'm still on page 2. INEC urges political parties to adhere strictly to electoral laws. And moving to page 3, Senate approves Human Rights Fund to tackle sexual, gender-based violence. Others. And lastly, on the Nigerian News Direct, Dambata reels out achievements as Nigeria hands over Watra chairmanship to Republic of Guinea. You can get all of that on the inside of the Nigerian News Direct. That'll be all for the Nigerian News Direct.
All right, moving on to the leadership newspaper. At the very top, we have the story of the suspended 3,000 workers' salary, and federal government also uncovers 1,000 fake jobs. That's on page 6. Tension in APC as Adamu begins probe of secretariat staff. That's on page 9. Moving on, fertilizer sector has brought prosperity to millions of Nigerians, says PMB. All right, so President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday in Abuja attributed Nigerians rising as Africans fertilizer purchases to implementation of the right policies by the present administration. You can continue reading on page 7 of the leadership newspaper. 2023, PDP jettisons zoning, throws presidential ticket open. If you're interested.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Mm.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Share with me, please.
I think I'm gonna be interested. Like I'm still thinking I'm going to be interested.
You're gonna be
I'm
interested.
gonna be interested. As the ticket is open now, me too. I have small Lego. Don't underrate me, please.
Give it a shot. There's no harm in trying.
Yes, please.
All right. We can get more details on page 7. 7 days after train attack, terrorists kill 15 soldiers in Kaduna. And the writer to that says, Nigeria is bleeding, says Tinubu. We are at a crossroads, El Rufai. Rep service chiefs in 5-hour meeting. Debating what? The way forward. Lawmakers alleged moles in military. All of these you can read on page 4. Primaries breach internal democracy laws recognition. INEC wants parties. That's on page 8. And also on page 6, governor speakers discuss state of the nation on Friday. That's in 2 days' time. So you can read up more on page 6. Moving on, FCTA to spend $272 million on 5.76 kilometer light rail track. That's on page 10. I think that's it's a good news moving forward. But it can't curb all the insecurities or issues we're having in the country. But still, it's a step. I mean, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that's all. That's much we can take on the leadership newspaper.
All right, thank you, Sha. Moving on to these day papers, the major headline: finally, PDP ditches zoning, throws presidential ticket open. I think that's actually making the part of the major headline for today's newspaper review, as Atiku, Saraki, Tambuwal, Bafarawa, others in joyous mood, obviously. Enugu governor unhappy, Fayose withdraws from committee to join presidential race. Wow, as in wow. Okay, you can get all of that on the inside of the state papers. And Kiari rallies Nupeng and NATO, others to tackle crude oil theft. That's on page 6. And I have another one, a worsening insecurity again. Senate asks Buhari to declare war on terrorists as Nigeria is exceedingly troubled, says Okowa. Governors, speakers meet on Friday. LCCI tax federal government to halt descent into lawlessness, anarchy. You can get all of that on page 10 of these day papers. And Buhari says Nigeria fast becoming leading fertilizer producer in Africa. And I think we read that in our newspaper review yesterday. and after the commissioning of the Dangote's fertilizer plant here in Lagos. So this is on a 2023 election. INEC warns parties against disobedience to election guidelines. That's on page 50 of the state papers. And lastly, on the state papers, once again, terrorists strike Kaduna, attack military camp, kill 15 soldiers and 3 civilians. We read that in the news today, and it's so pathetic. You can get the full details on page 10 of these day papers.
All right, moving on to New Telegraph. At the very top, we have insecurity. Investors express doubt over 2023 elections as FDI faces huge threat. The story is there, and you can continue reading on page 4. Let me just try and take extra. As the country marches towards 2023 general election, the organized community represented by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has lamented that the worrisome insecurity may stall the political process and also negatively impact the economy, adversely. So you can read more on page 4 of the paper. DMO releases 720 billion naira in the second quarter borrowing plan. That's on page 25. Moving on, Senate extends 2021 budget execution to May 31st, 2021. That's on page 3. And on page 3, Kyari seeks NUPENG, NATO orders support to tackle crude oil theft. Moving on to page 5, El-Rufai, we must get right leadership in 2023. And also on page 5, which happens to carry the 2023 presidency and the PDP open slot. So it's open contest for aspirants and PDP, and the right after that says as party throws ticket open to 6 geopolitical zones. And more, zoning committee adopted arrangement to avoid discontent among party members. It's morally wrong to continue as member, says Fayoshe. So far, 13 aspirants have purchased parties 40 million naira from. See me, I used to game for this.
Paddy.
You say what? So that's also on page 5.
Wow.
All right, I'll take us back to page 3, where we have NLC has to strike patriotic way to reposition education sector. And also on page 3, we have 2023. We won't monitor illegitimate primary, says INEC. Says no compliance with Electoral Act in nullity. That is on page 3 and also on page 27. Tallinn raises issues of fair participation for women. Women, you need to start participating in the affairs of Nigeria.
Yes, Kev.
All right, moving on to pages 4 and pages 26. 17 soldiers feared killed, 19 injured. That's embrace peace or we'll get you, General Yaya wants terrorists. FCTA to demolish illegal settlements around rail stations, airport. All of that you can get on pages 4 and pages 26 of the paper. All right, moving on to page 29. Kanu's brother to Soludo IPOB, not criminals, to be granted amnesty. And at the very bottom, study links chemicals in pet feces to health risk. That's on page 26, and that's all on the front page of the New Telegraph.
All right, on to the Daily Trust. Coast clear for Atiku, Saraki, others as PDP committee throws race open. And as we heard in the previous review, it's 40 million naira. That's
just 40
million naira. So that's on page 15 of the Daily Trust papers. Secrecy plagues MDA's revenue spending as Treasury porters shuts down. That's on page 21 of the Daily Trust papers. And the major headline says, insecurity, act now. Elders tell Buhari. And the writers to that says, 15 soldiers, 2 civilians, 3 vigilantes killed in Kaduna. And Nigeria never had it this bad. Like, really, Nigeria never had it this bad. Like, the change was just too rapid from 2020 during the COVID. the lockdown and all that, and before we knew it, things came back to normal a bit. And after the whole thing just changed. Like, I actually concur. Nigeria never had it this bad.
Never. Am I going to say we never saw it coming?
We never saw it coming. Yeah, we never saw it coming. We saw it coming, but we never saw it coming this bad.
Yes. If only we knew.
We weren't prepared.
If only we knew, right?
We weren't prepared, but all the same. Everything goes smooth now. Last. Everybody go do all right.
With prayers.
Yeah. God is on the throne. Okay. Bandits can be wiped out in 6 months, says ex-generals. The ex-generals have come out to say bandits can be wiped out in 6 months.
All of these things, I think our actions, we need more actions than spoken words.
Yeah.
I know it's not easy, but still, the way this whole thing is going, we need not to talk too much.
Basically, it's not all about talking. It's just act.
You can't just sit in the corner of your room. We have so many people like that. Even as followers of politicians, as a citizen of a country, we just sit and criticize the government, while the government, those people at the top will sit at the corner of your room and you just feel, okay, this thing, you can do this thing in less than 1 week. You can do this thing in less than 2 weeks. But of course, we need more actions. If you think we can do it, then how do we go about it? What are the things you need to do? What are the things you need to put in place as a general because he's come out to say it in less than 6 months we can do this.
Yeah.
We pray it's not even up to that, but still, let us know. Relate to the people, to the necessary people. So you people can sit and have this discussion so we know the way forward. Because this whole thing is becoming it's worrisome. It's not becoming, it's worrisome. And it's troubling. Nowhere is safe. You can't move left. You can't move right. It takes the grace of God. It takes the grace of God. And that's why we cannot keep praying. It's very important.
All right, moving on, still on Daily Trust Papers. Ami says we are reviewing our tactics. I think that's review tactics. Make sure it's upgraded and effective. It's not about reviewing, it's about effectiveness. Let the tactics be potent.
Yeah, you strategize on how to go about it.
Okay, Kano atheist bags 45 years for blasphemy incitement. And as soon as I saw this headline, I'm like, how old is that atheist? And bagging 45 years for blasphemy.
I think that's the end. That's the end for him. Because there's nothing left.
You can get out on the inside of the Daily Trust Papers. And Tinubu says, I'm with El Rufai. We have to eliminate terrorists. And fake workers have infiltrated IPPRS platform. Federal government cries out. You can get that on page 8 of the Daily Trust Papers. And this is on 2023 elections will bar parties that violate electoral law, says INEC. Yeah. And INEC has insisted on June 3 deadline for primaries, as exercise must be conducted in constituencies. You can get that on page 16 of the Daily Trust Papers.
Okay, I'll take the national economy. Nigeria to borrow 720 billion naira in second quarter. Okay, so the Debt Management Office, DMO, has released a schedule of the federal government 720 billion naira domestic borrowing plan for the second quarter. And, all right, you find out more on page 5. I wish I could go more and more and more, but I'll stop there. All right, moving on. Naira losing value over weak exports base. Rising import bill. Economists has come out to tell us, and it says Nigerians taste for foreign products, mounting pressure on Naira. Immediately, this is talking to you. Nigerians taste for foreign products, mounting pressure on Naira. You people will not stop ordering from the abroad.
I don't order from the abroad. Excuse me.
I don't like Nigerian product.
I don't like Nigerian
product. I think we can do more than that. Let's encourage what we have. Import bill increased by 2.3 trillion naira in 1 year. All of this you can also read on page 4 of the national economy. So the Nigerians law exports based production and taste for foreign goods law have identified by economists as the base of the local currency over the past 7 years. The value of the naira has fallen by 205% on the parallel market and 111% on the official market over the same period.
Huh.
So investigation has shown. We can read more of this on page 4. Moving on to the bottom of the paper, we'll see Nigeria has become Africa's fertilizer powerhouse. Buhari, that's on page 5, and also on page 5, NCC others MNO subscribers to comply with SIM registration guidelines. Moving back to page 4, FCCPC to commence criminal prosecution of loan sharks. Okay, so, and on the side of the paper, we have the leader to watch, Mr. Rotimi Solomon, experienced accountant at LCFE. That's that on the national economy paper.
Okay, I'll be taking a few from the Nigerian Pilot on page 7. INEC reads Riot Act to political parties over 2023 general elections. And I think this act, I hope it will be implemented during the general election and not just reading the act and not acting on the act. So that's on page 7. And Buhari says we've made Nigeria Africa's fertilizer house. That's on page 5. And PDP jettisons zoning, throws presidential ticket open as Senate stops IOCs from lifting crude oil over tax invasion. And this is on unlinked SIM subscribers. As subscribers lament telecoms blocking of outgoing calls. I think that actually started on Monday. And as of yesterday, subscribers have started bombarding telecommunication companies here in Lagos. Senate extends 2021 budget implementation to May 31, 2022. That's on page 6. As federal government detects 1,500 federal workers with fake appointment letters. That's on page 5. And I keep questioning how come fake appointment letters, like
up to you got to this stage.
till they got to the stage. And I actually believe, like we said in our newspaper during our newspaper review yesterday, that it's time we up our tech game in Nigeria. We have a lot of technologically savvy people here that can create a database that even if you have it fake, you'll be detected as within the snap of a finger. You don't need to start carrying papers around. We've gone past the era of papers. Now let's go technology. Let's, I don't know. Okay. Moving to page 6, governors to hold emergency meeting on insecurity with speakers. And the major headline reads, terrorists again reportedly attack Kaduna military base, kill 17 soldiers, 2 vigilantes and 1 traveler. No fewer than 23 others fatally wounded during attack, hospitalized, and burnt down 3 military armored vehicles, stole armament, other properties. And the chief of army staff says all enemies of Nigeria must be defeated. It's non-negotiable. All enemies of Nigeria must be defeated.
You're an enemy.
Yeah, that'll be all for the Nigerian pilots.
All right, because of our time, I'll just touch a few ones. Okay, so on midweek Al Jazeera, because it's Wednesday, Qatar 2022 World. FIFA snubs Nigerian picks 8 other African referees. That's on page 16 of the paper. And we also have gunmen killed 2 in Anambra after governor's prayer session. That's on page 23. And every other news there are actually stories we've talked about and we've touched. And I'll take a few ones on the Nigerian Tribune as well. Okay, 10 injured as 2 NURTW factions clash in Ondo. So it's not only in Lagos. That's on page 27 of the paper. West African faces worst food crisis. 27 million people suffering from hunger. 11 international organizations says. And right after that says another 11 million may be pushed into hunger in next 3 months. Ukraine. Inflation hunger loom in Africa. Ex-envoy warns. All of this you can read on pages 2 and pages 21 of the Nigerian Tribune. Okay, so Amotekun soldiers clash over arrest of cows in Ondo. It's a minor disagreement we've resolved, it says Amotekun commander. That's on page 26. And we also have 27 million pupils enroll in primary schools nationwide, says UBEC. That's on page 28 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And of course, few ones we've talked about yesterday. Thank you very much. I think this is where we'll draw the curtains on the newspaper review today. Tomorrow is going to be another edition from 9:30 to 10 a.m. here on Lagoon Radio. Keep listening and don't forget to also follow us on Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria, on Instagram and Twitter is at Lagoonradio.Ng. Download the Lagoon Radio app today on Google Play Store and iOS, depending on the device that you use. My name remains Taiwo Adiola Shabiolebe. And
Olabisi Simidele, okay. Have a nice day.
good morning.
Good morning.
This is Lagoon Radio.